he asked with a handsome smile. Bridget felt a tickling sensation inside, and she knew then that she liked him. Never had a man pursued her like this before, and she had to admit she really liked it. She liked the way he looked at her. She liked the way he spoke her name, how he tasted it like it was special. Could he be the one? She asked her own reflection as she put on makeup. If that was the case, then it was certainly worth the wait. Now, Bridget wasn't stupid. She knew he was from out of town and just moved there. She knew almost nothing about him, and for all she knew, he could have an entire family somewhere, or he could be some pervert. In fact, that was why she had said no to him the first 2 days he had come to her store. But now she had decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. He deserved that much for his effort. And Bridget realized that this might be her last chance of finding someone to grow old with. Someone who could make sure she wasn't left to die on her living room floor alone while the cats chewed on her nose. She felt hopeful that it wasn't too late for her. She never wanted children anyway, so that part didn't bother her much. It was the loneliness, the sadness of having no one in her life, that made her miserable. The doorbell rang and Bridget got up. She rushed to the door with all the anticipation of a first date, and then swung it open with a big smile. "Hi!" The sight of the handsome man made her blush, and she felt silly. He was wearing a nice gray suit, and in his hand he was holding a single red rose. "Hello there," he said, and handed her the rose. It still amazed her how he could have known that it was her favorite among flowers. It was very seldom that florists liked a flower as ordinary as the red rose. But it had always been her favorite. The fact that he knew that somehow told her he just might be the one. He just might. He reached out his arm so she could grab it. "Shall we?" Chapter 1. July 2015. What do you mean we have to wait an hour? First you tell me we can't get the car we booked online, and now we have to wait for another? I stared, baffled, at the guy behind the counter. He looked like he had just graduated high school. I felt Morten's hand land heavily on my shoulder. "If that's the best they can do, then let us just wait," he said with a gentle voice. I wasn't ready to give up the fight this soon. "No, I booked this car online," I said and pointed at the receipt I had printed out before we left the house in Fano Island. "And now they want to give me this instead? It's half the size." Morten chuckled. "Now you're exaggerating. Besides, we shouldn't allow this to destroy our vacation, now should we?" I growled. He was right. I just felt so cheated. I had paid for a much bigger and nicer car, and as soon as we reached the rental car in Dublin Airport, they had told us we had to get another car. Not a word about compensation or even a little, "We're sorry for the inconvenience." But Morten was right. We had finally managed to get away on a trip, just the two of us. It was sort of a make-up trip for a disastrous vacation we had taken 6 months earlier, where we had taken all of our children to Spain with us to visit an old friend of mine. The two teenagers had done nothing but argue about everything, and Victor had ended up throwing one fit after another, getting us thrown out of the hotel because he screamed all night, waking up the other guests. Yitta and Maya had been moping and not wanting to do anything, especially not with each other, and meanwhile, I had fought hard to keep Victor calm. Once we had set foot on our peaceful island again, Morten and I had promised each other that we were going to go on a trip soon, just the two of us. So here we were, in Dublin Airport trying to get a rental car, and already we had run into trouble. Maybe vacationing together simply wasn't our thing. "We'll take it," I said to the teenager behind the counter. I felt determined to have a great time and enjoy my boyfriend. It was so rare we had time on our own, and it was going to be great, no matter what. I threw Morten a glare, and he smiled triumphantly. He hated when I made a big deal about things. "Let's sit over there while we wait," he said, and pointed at a row of red chairs leaned up against the window. "Even the chairs are red-haired in this country," I groaned and dragged my suitcase after me. It was no secret that Ireland wasn't my idea. It was Morten who wanted to go there. I wanted to go somewhere exotic with great food, like Greece. We had discussed it for months until I finally had enough. I told Morten